You hear it all the time, right? AI is about to completely revolutionize medicine. A super smart doctor in your pocket, ready to diagnose you 24/7. But what if that incredible promise has a hidden danger? A flaw so big it could turn this amazing life-saving tool into something, well, life-threatening.
It's a huge question, isn't it? I mean, we're already seeing stories pop up about chatbots diagnosing these super rare conditions that even human doctors missed. So today, on Journal Club, we are diving into a brand new study that puts this whole idea to the ultimate test. Could an AI really be the new front door to healthcare?
Okay, let's get into it. On paper, you'd think the answer is a slam dunk yes. When you take these advanced AI models, large language models, or LLMs, the same tech that powers stuff like ChatGPT, and you just give them a list of symptoms, wow, they are incredibly accurate. We're talking almost 95% accuracy at identifying the right medical condition. They even crush medical licensing exams. It's literally superhuman performance.
But that's the real question, right? That's in a perfect, sterile lab setting. What happens when you put this ridiculously powerful tool into the hands of real people? People who aren't doctors, who are probably scared, confused, and have no idea which little details actually matter.
Well, that is exactly what a team of researchers decided to find out. They designed this really clever study to move past all the theory and test these AI doctors out in the messy, complicated real world. And what they found? Well, it might just change everything we think we know about the future of medicine.
So let's set the stage here. Is AI really the new super doctor on the block? We've got to understand the hype before we can really dig into the reality.
The paper we're breaking down today comes from a team at the University of Oxford, and it was published in one of the top journals out there, Nature Medicine. And what's really cool is that it's a pre-registered study. All that means is that the researchers publicly laid out their entire plan before they saw any results, which is basically the gold standard for doing unbiased, high-quality science.
So how in the world do you even go about testing something like this? I mean, you can't just unleash an AI on the public and see what happens. You need a really smart, controlled experiment. So let's break down exactly how they designed this thing.
Okay, so here's the game plan, in 4 simple steps. First, a team of actual doctors cooked up 10 realistic medical situations, things people might actually experience. Second, they got almost 1,300 regular folks to participate. Third, and this is the crucial part, they randomly split them into 2 groups. One group got to use a cutting-edge AI chatbot for help. The other group, the control group, was just told to use whatever they normally would, which, let's be honest, usually means Google. And finally, everyone had to do 2 things. Try to figure out what the medical condition was, and then decide what to do about it from, stay home, to call 911 right now.
And this is where the story takes a fascinating and frankly pretty shocking turn. The results were absolutely not what anyone was expecting.
First things first, let's just confirm that super doctor idea. When the researchers fed the medical scenarios directly to the AI with no human involved, its performance was incredible. Just like we see here, it nailed the diagnosis almost 95% of the time. So the knowledge is there, no question about it.
But now, for the twist. Look at this. This is the accuracy of the people in the study. The control group, the ones just using search engines, they got the right condition about 35 to 40% of the time. Not bad. But the group that was given the super smart AI, their accuracy was actually a little bit lower. They did no better, in fact slightly worse, than the people just Googling stuff. Giving them this medical superbrain didn't help them one bit.
This is the million-dollar question, right? You've got a tool that's nearly perfect by itself, but the second a person starts using it, the whole thing just falls apart. What is happening in that conversation between the person and the AI? To figure this out, the researchers did something brilliant. They went back and read the chat logs between all the users and the AI to find the answer, and they found this consistent, critical point of failure. They call it human LLM interaction failure. It's a bit of a mouthful, but it boils down to a really simple idea. The AI might have the right answer locked away in its brain, but the person just isn't getting it. The communication, the conversation itself is breaking down.
And this example from their data shows you just how terrifying that breakdown can be. So 2 different users describe almost the exact same symptoms for what could be a fatal brain bleed. One user happens to use the word sudden. The AI picks up on that and tells them, correctly, to get to an emergency room. The other user doesn't use that word, and the AI gives them the complete opposite advice. Just go lie down. One tiny word made a life or death difference.
So, when they analyzed all the chats, the problem really came down to three things. First, just like that last example, people often left out the key buzzwords that a doctor would know to ask about. Second, the AI itself would sometimes get confused or give inconsistent advice. And third, even when the AI gave a list of possibilities that included the right one, users, who aren't doctors, just couldn't pick the correct diagnosis out of the lineup. They were lost in the options.
Okay, so this is bigger than just one study. These findings have really profound implications for how we should be building and testing AI for healthcare.
This right here is the big one. For years, the whole goal in AI development has been to just cram more and more medical knowledge into the AI to make it smarter. But this study shows that's not the real problem. The bottleneck isn't the AI's knowledge, it's the conversation. The new challenge isn't just making a smarter AI, it's making an AI that's a better communicator.
And this has massive safety implications. It basically proves that the way we've been testing medical AIs, having them take a multiple-choice medical exam, is just totally wrong. An AI can ace an exam, but still be dangerous in a real conversation, because the exam never tests the conversation part.
This is exactly the kind of critical insight that can get buried in a super dense research paper. So if you find this kind of deep dive useful, where we separate the real science from the media hype, a quick click on those like and subscribe buttons really helps our channel, Journal Club, bring more of this kind of research straight to you.
So, where do we go from here? Does this study mean that the dream of an AI doctor is just dead? No, not at all. But it does mean the path to get there looks a whole lot different than we thought. Now, we've got to be honest about what this study doesn't tell us. The scenarios they used were for pretty common conditions. We still have no idea how this all plays out with really rare or complex diseases. And maybe most importantly, the people in this study were in a low-stakes experiment. They weren't in a real-life panic, which would almost definitely change how they talk to an AI.
But even with all that, the central message here is just crystal clear. We can build an AI that has memorized every medical textbook ever written, but all that knowledge is completely useless and maybe even dangerous if an average person can't get to it through a simple, clear conversation. And that really leaves us with this final thought. The focus has to change. The next huge leap forward in AI medicine isn't going to be about a smarter algorithm or a bigger database. The real challenge isn't just building artificial intelligence. It's about building artificial, empathy, patience, and clarity. Thanks for watching Journal Club. We'll see you in the next one.